Think about the months of the year: January, February, March. If you take their initial letters and line them up from July to November, there is a man camped out in the middle of your calendar. Jason. I know perfectly well that the calendar does not contain a person, but knowing that doesn't make him leave. Without any noise or missing data, my linguistic apparatus fires uninvited and produces a guy named Jason out of thin air. It is a hallucination on perfect input. When an artificial intelligence invents information out of perfectly clean data, we treat it as a smoking gun. We point to the hallucination as absolute proof that the machine is hollow. Take a piece of transcription software listening to a French conversation. The audio is clear. The topic moves from La Fête Nationale Française, the military parades and celebrations in Paris, to the upcoming July 4th holiday in the States. The speaker mentions the 250th anniversary of independence. The software, with total confidence, writes down the exact opposite, the 250th anniversary of dependence. It is a spectacular failure, and it's exactly the kind of error that prompts critics to declare that the machine doesn't comprehend language at all, but merely predicts the next likely word. But that certainty might be unearned. If we look closely at how our own ears process the world, the line between understanding and predicting becomes far thinner than we care to admit. The first defense of human exceptionalism relies on the idea that we parse literal meaning, while large language models are just statistical calculators guessing the next token. To see why, listen to Jimi Hendrix. He sings, "Excuse me while I kiss the sky," but millions of listeners actually hear "kiss a guy." This chart shows exactly why this happens. It compares the statistical likelihood of a man kissing another man versus a man kissing the literal sky. The ear is not a receiver of objective truth. It is a plausibility engine. We like to think we run an internal coherence check to catch nonsense, but "kiss a guy" is a perfectly well-formed English phrase. The internal logic check runs, passes, and certifies the wrong answer, simply because the wrong answer is the more probable one. Poetry relies on low-probability construction. Our auditory processing does exactly what it evolved to do. It regularizes the poet's lyrics back down into highly probable, mundane facts. We operate as token predictors. When cornered on probability, the defense retreats. The new argument becomes, fine, we guess, but we know when we are uncertain. We have an internal alarm for our own errors. I recently spent an afternoon in a French lesson drilling the vowels in tu and tu. These are two distinct phonemes that any French toddler can tell apart, but my North American ear had quietly merged into a single sound. We ran through pronunciation drills. My mouth produced two distinct vowels, returning them exactly as asked, but my ear was only receiving one. The output was perfect, but the internal representation was entirely wrong, and there was no internal alarm. Without the tutor there to correct me, my internal record would have filed away a completely false version of the language forever. When I ran the recording of that exact lesson through transcription software, the machine hallucinated a wall of repetitive identical pronouns. It failed with the exact same blind confidence that I did. We don't possess a magical organ of self-correction. We repair our errors when strapped into an environmental feedback loop with someone telling us we're wrong. Take away the tutor, and we hallucinate right alongside the machine. So the goalposts move a final time. The ultimate defense is that human comprehension is grounded. We have physical bodies, we live in a physical world, and we have real stakes. But having a physical body and worldly stakes provided absolutely zero help in parsing the phonetic difference between two French vowels. My physical groundedness sat on the wrong side of a degraded auditory channel, entirely useless. As every testable metric of understanding falls away, the criteria retreat into the unmeasurable. We are left claiming there is an invisible inner luminosity to human comprehension, an essence we possess and machines lack simply because we say so. It is the god of the gaps dressed up in academic language, a blind assumption of biological superiority backed by zero evidence. So if understanding isn't a glowing magical state inside the human skull, what actually is it? It is a status attribution, a charitable label we extend to entities that look and act like us, based on patterned success and external adaptation. When humans fail to hear a vowel or invent a guy in a calendar, we grant them interpretive charity. We blame the environment and assume the underlying competence is still intact. But when a machine makes the exact same error, we engage in ontological prosecution. We point to the failure as proof that it was always empty inside. The reality is that language was always a lossy channel. Every act of human comprehension is a continuous reconstruction of partial evidence, guessing at the probable phoneme to form a plausible word. We spent centuries assuming our own cognitive processes were flawless, building philosophies to house that assumption. And now we've built a machine that operates on the same probabilistic guesswork, and we are horrified by the output. These systems act as an uncomfortable mirror, forcing us to recognize the hallucinations that construct our very own minds.